Communication from the chair. Honorable members, as I had directed in the morning, the businesses of the morning sitting are contained in a supplementary order paper and pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 42, we shall first consider the business in the main order paper and then proceed to the supplementary order paper. Clerk, next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Under this order, there is a paper by Honorable Samuel Rimui Kayani, the Chairperson, Committee on Tourism, Cooperative Development, Trade and Industrialization.
Honorable Samuel Rimui Kayani, Chairperson, Committee on Tourism, Cooperative Development, Trade and Industrialization. Honorable Mirka Wajiro, on behalf of Chair, proceed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, to read a preliminary report, to present a preliminary report on the Nyandarua County Lake Oborosat Sports Tourism and Conservation Half Marathon and Fund Annual Report and Financial Statement for the year ended 30th June 2024. Mr. Speaker, I wish to go straight to the background, and I hope members have this on their gadget because I don't intend to read it. We have a lot of business in this house today. But Mr. Speaker, Section 167 of the Public Finance Management Act prescribes that the administrators of a county public fund established by the Constitution, an Act of Parliament, all county legislation shall prepare financial statements for the fund for each financial year in a form prescribed by the Accounting Standards Board. And 2, in the preparation of a financial statement for a county public fund, the administrator shall ensure that the report contains information on the financial and non-financial performance of the fund. Consequently, during the morning sitting on 8th October 2024, the majority party leader tabled a report on the Nyandarua County Lake Oborosat Sport Tourism and Conservation Marathon Fund Annual Report and Financial Statement for the financial year ended 30th June 2024. It was then directed to the committee with the matter and report back to the House within 60 days. Mr. Speaker, with me is a preliminary report, and I want to appreciate you, Mr. Speaker, and the entire Assembly for granting us an opportunity. And when we go to page 7, you can see the membership of our committee as stated in page 7. And Mr. Speaker, I go straight to page 8. The committee held multiple meetings to consider the annual County Lake Oborosat Sport Tourism and Conservation Half Marathon Fund Annual Report and Financial Statement for the year ended 30th June 2024 as forwarded by the CCM Tourism, Cooperative Development, Trade and Industrialization, and made the following findings. That the principal activity of the fund is raising funds for funding and operationalizing the Lake Oborosat Sport, Tourism and Conservation Half Marathon, aimed at promoting tourism, conservation, and developing sports talents in Nyandarua County. As such, the fund was run by a committee comprising the underlisted Board of Trustees, Fund Administration Committee. Honorable Agnes Wamahiga Jonji, Honorable Catherine Jerry Getao, Honorable Samuel Getaka, Joseph Wanjohi Wahome, Ms. Helen Jerry Njoroge, Mr. Joram Kagembe Kiarie, Mr. Samson Jiri, Mr. Bernard Moi Muriuki, Mr. Moses Muriuki, Mr. Daniel Kamau, and Mr. Isaac Kairu. It's good to note that none of these assembly members were in that committee, yet it was an activity for the entire Nyandarua County. Then, Mr. Speaker, Half Marathon Organization Committee indeed organized the first edition of the Lake of Barossa Sport Tourism and Conservation Half Marathon, themed Sport Tourism for Conservation, and took place on 26th of November 2023. The race stood out for having started at equator, 0 degrees latitude to the shores of Lake of Barossa. The race was attended by over 1,000 athletes, incorporating individuals and organizations, and was able to raise over 7.6 million, resulting to a successful marathon as scheduled, with benefits including road connectivity, increased awareness. There has been increased interest from various agencies. And then, of course, on page number 10, members, we have income versus expenditure. And you can see sponsorship grant and support to the fund was 5,616,700,000. A budgetary allocation that we had allocated in the budget was 2 million. So the total cost for the marathon was 7,616,700,000. Total expenditure was 7,601,734. Therefore, there was a surplus of 14,966. Summary of actual expenditure, you can see it on page number 10, members. I wish that you go through them. And if there are questions, probably members should ask. Mr. Speaker, in realization of a successful race, the department reported having a surplus of 14,966 shillings and highlighted challenges faced during the organization process, which included: number 1, failure by sponsors to deposit the monies promised in time. Number 2, failure by banks to deposit monies promised to other banks owing to financial competitions. Number 3, inadequate funding. Number 4, being the first edition on the marathon and the fund thereof, the timing of the funds was untimely. Number 5, poor road network owing to the El Nino at that time. And number 6, timing for marketing and promotion of the marathon was limited. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, from the submission by the Department of Tourism, it was evident that the inaugural Lake of Barossa Half Marathon was indeed a success, having materialized on the 16th November 2023. Further, despite the challenges involved, the committee appreciates that event did not report a deficit, nor did it accrue pending bills, considering that the event was mainly a recurrent expenditure budget line. However, the committee was not able to ascertain the veracity of the financials reported, and supporting documents had not yet been furnished before it. In this regard, the committee intends to seek further information regarding supporting documents for the receipt, including those from sponsors, grants, donors, and general donations to the fund. And number 2, bank statement on the period in question. And number 3, supporting documents highlighting actual expenditure as highlighted in table 2. And Mr. Speaker, on the information, once the information is furnished before the committee, it is expected that the comprehensive report shall be tabled on the floor for further deliberation and consideration by this House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The preliminary report is duly tabled. And the leave sought is well explained and deserving, and so I grant it as sought. Although Honorable Milka, you may let us know how much time you need.
Mr. Speaker, we seek a further 60 days to present the full report.
Leave sought granted. Chairperson, ensure the report is ready within the time requested. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Under this order, there is a notice of motion by Honorable Milka Wajiru Ndirango, MCA Kirita Ward.
Honorable Milka Wajiru Ndirango, member for County Assembly, Kirita Ward. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to give a notice of motion on public health and sanitation in regards to solid waste, cemeteries and liquid waste management, including disposal sites and waste treatment sites in the county. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice on the following motion. Aware that Article 43 of the Constitution guarantees that every person has a right to the highest attainable standards of health. Further aware that Article 11G in the Part 2 of the 4th Schedule of the Constitution of Kenya mandates counties with the functions of sanitation services, county public toilets, refuse removal, dumping and solid waste disposal, as well as care and burial of carcasses. And whereas the Public Health Act, Cap 242 of 2012, has provision aimed at promoting and protecting the health and well-being of the population, including environmental health, addressing issues related to sanitation, waste management, and environmental pollution to safeguard public health. Noting that pursuant to Section 9, read with Section 11, 1 and 2, of the Sustainable Waste Management Act number 13 of 2022, waste management is primarily the responsibility of the county government, meaning each county is required to establish its own sustainable waste management infrastructure, including recycling facilities, and implement regulations to correct, segregate, and dispose of waste within their jurisdiction, and that the county is expected within 2 years after the enactment of the Act, establish its own county legislation. Further noting that the Sustainable Waste Management Act number 13 of 2022 requires each county to prepare and submit to the County Assembly for approval an integral county waste management plan once every 5 years, and that neither the county legislation nor the plan of waste management have been submitted to the county 2 years since the enactment of the Act. Concerned that the function of waste management in Nyandarua County is marred with confusion, interdepartmental conflicts on the functions, such as A, solid waste management is currently under the Department of Health Services as both the implementer and oversight, cognizant that both responsibility be given to one department is a contradiction of the sharing of powers, good governance, and sustainable development as our national values and principles of governance enshrined under Article 10(2) A, C, and D in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Another confusion is liquid waste management. It's said to be domiciled in the Department of Water, Environment, Climate Change, and Natural Resources, while the public toilets in the trading centers are not clear as to where they are under the department responsible for trade, environment, or the health services. Another confusion is solid waste management in municipalities which are under the Department of Lands, Physical Planning and Urban Development, are not now transferred to the municipality. And then the final confusion is waste management in trading centers and markets, i.e. public toilets in the trading centers and markets being under the Department of Tourism and Cooperative Development, Trade and Industrialization. Further concerned that there is no clear channeling of funds to the functions stated above to the respective departments. Further conflict is anticipated in the control of disposal sites that are situated within the 3 municipalities, especially because the trading centers that are not within municipalities may as well be expected to manage their own waste outside the municipalities. Appreciating the Department of Health Services is in the process of formulating a solid waste management policy, but which may not solve some of the confusion and conflicts arising from the aforementioned issues. And further appreciating that pursuant to Section 46 of the County Government Act 17 of 2012, and the County Executive Committee has a duty to determine the organization of the structures of the county government and its various departments, and for that purpose may establish, continue, or vary any department and determine the object and purposes of the department. Now, therefore, this House resolves, number 1, pursuant to Section 46 of the County Government Act of 2012, the County Executive Committee, under the stewardship of His Excellency the Governor, does reorganize the structures of the government to cure any existing, perceived, or potential interdepartmental confusion, conflict, or contradiction in the functions of the management of waste, including public cemeteries, waste disposal sites, waste treatment sites, and public toilets outside the department. Should deal with solid waste management, liquid waste management, cemeteries, waste disposal sites, waste treatment sites, public toilets, waste management in municipality, waste management in trading centers, and markets outside the municipalities across the county, and outlining the extent of the mandate in each of the functions. Number 2, separate implementations from oversight in favor of sharing power, good governance, and sustainable development under our national values and principles for governance, enshrined in Article 10(2), A, C, and D in the Constitution in all matters pertaining to waste management. Number 3, that the County Executive Committee does pursuant to Section 11 and 18 of Sustainable Management Act number 13 of 2012, align the draft waste management policy to the Act, formulate the necessary legislative proposals as required under the Act, and submit an integrated county waste management plan in the County Assembly for approval. And number 4, that the County Executive Committee, through the County Executive Committee Member for Finance, Economic Planning, does, pursuant to Section 24 of the Sustainable Waste Management Act number 13 of 2022 and Section 116 of the Public Finance Management Act 2022, establish a sustainable waste management fund to functionalize solid waste management and possibly devise such other ways of doing the same to liquid waste management. And finally, that while formulating the policy and legislative proposal mentioned above, the County Executive Committee does consider inclusion of public-private partnership in sustainable waste management. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I give the notice. Thank you.
A notice of motion is duly given, and the same shall be processed as directed by the House Business Committee pursuant to Standing Order 157 5D. Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Honorable Mirka Wajiro, member for Krita, you may proceed and give the personal statement.
Mr. Speaker, I think this has been my day, but now I want to give a personal statement on an issue that I'm very, very passionate about, and an issue that has happened in the country of Kenya, especially at this time when we are talking about gender-based violence. The statement on the position of women during the 16 days of activism. Mr. Speaker, sir, the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence is an annual global campaign that runs from November 25th, the International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women, to December 10th, Human Rights Day. This campaign was initiated in 1991 by activists in the inaugural Women Global Leadership Institute and has since been coordinated by the Center for Women Global Leadership. It aims to raise awareness about gender-based violence for human rights issues and to galvanize efforts towards its prevention and elimination. Mr. Speaker, the campaign unites individuals, organizations, governments, and institutions across the globe in solidarity to address violence against women and girls in many forms, including domestic violence, sexual harassment, femicide, and systematic gender discrimination. Each year, the campaign adopts a specific theme to highlight pressing issues and mobilize action. Mr. Speaker, this year's theme is Time to Act Now. What I'm doing resonates deeply as a call for action for all leaders, institutions, and communities to confront systematic barriers hindering the gender equality. Mr. Speaker, sir, today I rise not only to echo this, but call to address remarks that undermine the progress we as a society have made towards equality. As the inaugural chair of the Women Caucus and a steadfast advocate against discrimination and sexualization of women, who has been at the forefront of championing gender equality and respect for women's contribution in leadership and society, I am appalled and disturbed by comments allegedly made by a colleague from the Kiambu County Assembly, where he is said to have referred to the nomination of women as glorifying prostitution. These remarks, branding women leadership as sexually transmitted positions, are not only offensive, but retrogressive. They demean women's contributions to the leadership and perpetuate the harmful stereotypes that fuel gender-based violence, exclusion, and inequality. It is disheartening that in a progressive democracy like ours, such retrogressive and chauvinistic views can still find expression, especially from a leader entrusted with public office. At a time when a country is grappling with increased cases of gender-based violence and femicide and systematic discrimination against women and girls, such comments fuel harmful stereotypes and contribute to the very injustices we are working so hard to eliminate. We are still reeling from the shock femicide cases, such as the brutal murder of Ivy Wangeshi, a university student whose life was senselessly taken in broad daylight, and the tragic killing of Damaris Muthe, a promising young athlete whose life was cut short under shocking circumstances. To mention a few, illustrate the passive danger women face. These heinous acts are not isolated incidences, but part of deeply pattern of gender-based violence, further evidenced by alarming frequency of cases reported across the country in recent months. Mr. Speaker, our constitutions under Article 27 is clear on the principles of equality. 1, every person is equal before the law and has a right to equal protection and benefits of law. Women and men have rights to equal treatment, including equal opportunities in political, economical, cultural, and social spheres. The state is mandated to ensure that no person is discriminated against any grounds, including gender, pregnancy, marital status, or social origin. Furthermore, Article 27 obligates that the state to take legislative and other measures to ensure that more than two-thirds of members of the elective or appointive bodies are of the same gender. This is not a favor, it is a constitutional requirement and a recognition of immense value and contributions women bring to the leadership and governance. Mr. Speaker, the position of women in this House or any other elective or appointive body is neither charity nor an act of pity. Women in leadership are there on merit, having earned their position through hard work, discipline, and commitment to service. This House, this country, and this continent have witnessed transformative leadership of women who have shattered glass ceilings and paved the way for others. Allow me to highlight some of these trailblazers. Professor Wangari Maathai, Nobel Peace Prize and a global environment icon. Senior Counsel Mother Karua, a symbol of justice and integrity in leadership. Gracia Machel, a champion of human rights and education in Africa. Winnie Madera, a relentless advocate for freedom of equality. Closer home, Mr. Speaker, I take pride in my own journey. From a volunteer in several organizations, to a specially elected member of this House, to a county executive committee member, and now an elected member of the county assembly. This journey speaks not to privilege, but a capacity, resilience, and determination. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is therefore not only disrespectful, but also uncouth for any leader or individual to undermine the contribution of women leaders by reducing their achievements to physical attributes or baseless allegations. Such sentiments are deeply rooted in misogyny and male chauvinism, which have no place in our modern society. Where the feminine traits of women should indeed be celebrated, women must never be defined solely by their physical characteristics. Women bring to leadership space unique strength in nurturing mobilization, influence, and decision-making, among many others. I urge our male colleagues, spouses, brothers, and friends to abandon the harmful habits of sexualizing women and instead embrace the transformative potential women possess as leaders and partners in building a better society. As I conclude, Mr. Speaker, as members
of order under your discretion, that is order number 1, following a motion that has been given a notice by Honorable Wanjiru on the waste management, and I sincerely apologize because I've just got in, but I realized that in one of the resolutions that is seeking, number 4, he is saying that he wants to introduce something he is calling Waste Management Fund. And as you are aware, Honorable Speaker, anything that touches on money, before even, and I really respect this motion and it's a good motion, and I would like it to see the light of the day, and will contribute and will support. But then we need to have a discussion with the budget and the finance committee, whether that resolution, before even we move this motion to the next level, is applicable, because it becomes now a money-related motion or a money bill for that matter, whenever it touches anything to do with the fund.
Order. Honorable member, your observations are good. However, they are preempting the motion. This is the notice for motion, and therefore it shall be substantive in the motion, and therefore your views are welcome then.
Point of clarification, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Gita.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Wajiro have just raised a very serious issue in this House. And in her parting shots, she has said that she is requesting the male honorable members in this House to treat the nominated MCAs with respect and decorum. And because she has requested us, maybe it would have been fair for you, Honorable Speaker, use your discretion so that you can also mention something. Because what is happening is actually a very wrong issue in terms of condemning our colleagues. So it would have been good that we also say something, maybe using your discretion, considering this is a personal statement and we are not allowed maybe to say anything.
Proceed. You can proceed, Honorable Member. It's quite in order.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what Honorable Wajiro have just mentioned, considering the issue of the member for Kiabu, who said something negative about our nominated MCAs, I think it is also very good that we mention something. Because, Honorable Speaker, you agree with me that this House, that is Nyandarua County Assembly, have given a nominated MCA a seat of a very senior seat, that is a seat of majority chief whip. And what I'm trying to say is that those members for Kiabu, they should come and benchmark from this county assembly, because it is very wrong for a member to see a colleague in such a very negative way, considering other colleagues are considering them. So, Honorable Speaker, I would also suggest, as they come to benchmark here, they should also come with that honorable member who have spoken negatively about these nominated MCAs, so that we can also greet him. Because as members of this county assembly, we are also not very happy. If you remember our own Honorable Gidenji, who is vying for a deputy president position, and is using her position as a nominated MCA to create more space for herself, Honorable Speaker. So it is very unfair for anybody to think that now that you are nominated, you cannot be anything better than that. So we have members who are doing very well. We have Honorable Wajiro, and she has mentioned it. She started as an MCA. She has been empowered to date, and we even have a lot of hope on her, considering she comes from my constituency. And I can tell you, her star is rising. She is even likely to be the next woman left. I don't know when, but most likely she will one day. I'm not sure. But I'm not sure when. But that does not mean now that you are nominated, you cannot be something. So I think that is all, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much.
Honorable Isaac Bai.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like also, if allowed by you, to contribute on the same matter. Honorable Speaker, you realize that the Kenya of today, we are really trying, and especially because the government is working very hard to introduce the right of education, to ensure that that we have what we call the equal education status, whether it is a boy or a girl, and that has managed to bring into the light of equality, where you realize that by empowering a girl child, now we have what we call the right. We are now not like there before, when we used to hear that the only educated people used to be only boy child. And as we are speaking today, Honorable Speaker, going with what is happening in today's nature, as we sympathize with our girl child, we understand that they really suffer what we call the physical violence. That is the physical violence in their homes. And we, of course, we have seen it in some few days on our social platforms, even in our media, where you'll find violence erupted in some certain place, and you realize that it went all along in the media, and there were people who are trying to say arrest the offender, and after that the CCTV like to save that guy. I don't want to expose or mention his name in this assembly, because you realize the guy also was attacked in a different manner. What you realize, Honorable Speaker, unless now the government of Kenya try to communicate deeper on the matter to do with gender violence, you'll find people are suffering. There are those who are suffering and communicate, and there are those who are suffering and fail to communicate. And I am very sure that we need now to wake up and try to bring, to harmonize families, harmonize both gender. Because if the country focus more on one end, what will happen? We'll experience a lot of suicidal because men might not be able to speak out. And I can tell you, Honorable Speaker, if the research can be done, you'll find that the most suffering people mentally, they are men. The other thing is that, so if we don't open like a room where even men can be given a platform to speak out of what the challenges they are going through, we might end up having a walking dead men in the state of this country. And on the other part of our women, our Honorable Wajiro is a clear indication that what men can do, even women can do. She fought for it. She fought with men, and she owned it. And today, we have one of the smartest brain in this assembly, and that is Honorable Wajiro. Let women now stay put and get to the front and fight for positions, waiting to be given. That's where now you see there are some rude characters coming out. How I wish, and that is my prayer, that honorable member for Kiabu who insulted nominated members, how I wish there should come out a strong lady like Honorable Wajiro in that ward, and he lost it, so that he can realize you should not bully anyone. Everyone is equal, and we need to have like a working together and respect. I know even in this assembly, there was a honorable members who called nominated members puppets. It is good wherever he is. If he was in this assembly, I could just rubbish him and tell him the truth that they are not puppet. They are readers, and they are given that opportunity because they did something. They worked for it. Nobody was given this position in a plate of by given a cup of tea. He fought for it. He was somewhere. You must position yourself to be identified. You cannot be given for free. So, Honorable Speaker, I believe that with policies that the government is introducing all along from 2010 constitution, whether when they brought the
Honorable Member, put your microphone on and conclude and summarize, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You realize if the government can keep on introducing policies, and not only introducing them, but introducing and ensuring they are followed to the letter, then we'll have one of the best country in the world. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
We can have Honorable Patience, then Honorable Kungu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mine is to support Honorable Bai and Honorable Wajiro for the said report about the nominated MCs. Mr. Speaker, sir, personally, as Patience Manga, I'm the nominated in this assembly. someone who have come from far, from grass to grace. Mr. Speaker, sir, some of us can tell you that we have gone through hell with no school fees, with no food to be where we are. Mr. Speaker, sir, I can assure this assembly and other assembly that are hearing from Nyandarua County Assembly that some of us, even during nomination, when we were about to pay, we struggled to go to several jobs like farming, business, and even asking our parents and our friends to help us with money so that we can be able to apply for nomination. So I would like to support my colleagues that to say that nominated MCAs in this assembly, mostly in Nyandarua County Assembly, even in other assemblies, that we have struggled a lot to be where we are today because we want to become great leaders in this great nation. So I'm here to support the nominated MCAs and even to celebrate our elected MCAs who are supporting the nominated MCAs, because I believe and I have followed Honorable Wajiro from this assembly, and she told me that one day she was a nominated MCA, and we can see today, Mr. Speaker, sir, that Honorable Wajiro is one of the greatest MCAs in Nyandarua County Assembly. We can't miss her speech. We can't miss her talking something in this assembly because she's a blessing in this assembly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and thank you so much for this humble time. Thank you.
Honorable Isaac Kungo.
Honorable Speaker, I want to appreciate Honorable Wajiro, but at the same time, understanding the protocol and this house, I may not be in a position to substantiate whether the words that have been purportedly said that they were uttered by the honorable member from Kiambu are true or not, because it was in social media, and I've not heard him own it or speak it out in the mainstream, such that I can be able to authenticate whether it was just other people who are fighting him, you know what is happening in the social media or not. If it is true that he said that, it's very unfortunate, because we don't want to underscore the part that women play, and they have played especially in this country. But at the same time, I would like to say that we thank and we want to appreciate our nominated members of the county assemblies in this country. God has given them an opportunity. There are so many women out there who would have wanted to have a chance. And I want to appreciate especially those who are in Nyandarua, because they are doing some good work. We have seen Manga Foundation, we have seen Honorable Mirika doing some good work on computer and educating the women. We have seen what is happening with Honorable Joyce, representing the people living with disability. But in many cases, and I don't want to hide under the sand, we have seen of cases of people who are nominated and they never even attended the assembly. We know of cases of happening in Nairobi. And there is even a case in this county, in this regime, where we have seen a member who have been summoned by party because she has missed 16 sittings in the assembly. They are representing very crucial constituency called women. And women are unique, and they have very unique needs. And we would like them to present, when they have given that opportunity, to really represent that constituency, because it's a blessing from God. There are just a few percentage that have been taken. You can imagine the number of women in this county assembly vis-a-vis the population of women in Nyandarua. We really want to appreciate and be proud. When I look an honorable member like Joe Kidongo, the member of the Supreme Court, the judge, she was nominated. If you look at the kind of bills she was able to bring in the National Assembly, it has not only affected women, but it has changed our country. So we would like that whenever these women are given an opportunity, they leave a legacy. And we also want to make sure that there is a lot of budget that is going on when we nominate a lot of women. So what are we saying, Honorable Speaker? We wanted them when they nominated, they work very hard such that they defeat their male counterpart, so that we reduce the number of the nominated, we reduce the budgets. How I wish in Nyandarua they will be elected 5 women, such that the number of nominated women in the next government, there will be 7. That means we are empowering women. But it doesn't make sense we nominate 16 women, the next year we nominate another 6, We need to see them graduate. For example, how Honorable Wajiro graduated. We want to see them graduate to the next level. Instead of just bringing a group of women, after 5 years, they go another group of women. We want them to graduate to other levels. They become elected member, they go for different seats, they go for higher seats. And after all, and even when they had an opportunity to serve in this assembly, they bring significant bills and motion because they have all the time to do research. Me, I have just come from funeral in my area of constituency. I'm walking all over through the world every now and then together. Bukamwana can agree with me. But for them, they can sit down, do some good research, like Naomi here, bring a very good motion here, or a bill, and we support it. And I know they have been supported by our staff. I'm looking forward to see very great bills coming from these great women of Nyandarua and great women of Kenya in other assemblies. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Let's have Honorable Naomi Gatia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine will be very brief. I'd like to first commend the only female elected MCA in this county for her statement. It was brilliant. It was straightforward. And this month, Mr. Speaker, we have a campaign on the 16 days of activism where we look at how to end gender-based violence. And gender-based violence is not only targeted on women alone, it is for both genders. We have seen an increase in suicide rates. We have seen an increase in targeted violence against men as well. And this is a month where we look at protecting both genders, irregardless. Mr. Speaker, we have seen the statement on social media of the said honorable member from Kiambu County. And he has not come out to deny, he has not come out to give a statement on the same, but we have also seen a clip on social media on his motion on why nominated members should not vote in the assembly. I think it is very unfortunate in this day and age to have an honorable member claim that a nominated member cannot vote or cannot speak out or cannot do anything in regards to a motion or, passing anything in the assembly because of their gender or how they got into the assembly. Mr. Speaker, I think this honorable member from Kiambu County should come forward and explain to the rest of the world, especially to other county assemblies, about his statement. And I believe that he owes all the nominated members, women or men, an apology and a statement, and he should explain what he meant by those remarks that he made in the county assembly. And I even call upon the county assembly of Kiambu and the members of Kiambu County to come forward and explain to the rest of us what he meant by those statements that he gave out. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to inform the House that the position of a nominated member was created so that it can solve inequalities, so that it can solve stereotyping in leadership positions, so that we can solve the gender disparity in leadership positions. And this is why we have the 2/3 gender rule, and we cannot rule that out and say that women have no place in leadership, women have no place in governance, because the sole purpose of the nominated seat to represent gender was to bring about equality in matters leadership. and so that we can solve education crisis, health matters, and other societal issues that touch on women and men and young and vulnerable groups at large. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, I believe that maybe moving forward, all leaders, MCAs, MPs, senators, all the way to the top positions, we should really make more strict regulations on people who make remarks, utterances, or otherwise that that maybe instigate violence on the other gender. If somebody purports to harm the other gender, whether female or male, there should be more strict measures that are taken into place, because these are the utterances that result to violence, that result to people being violent to the other gender. And there should be more strict regulations, and maybe even the police should look at when people make such remarks jokingly on social media or other platforms, and have more strict measures. Mr. Speaker, thank you so much.
Honorable Bogo Mburu, member for Weru.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. And I will start by appreciating the member for Kereita. We were with her in the last assembly. By then, she was appointed once, and today she is here democratically. Mr. Speaker, I also join Mheshimiwa Koum from Wajohi and say, I really don't know whether that man, because he's from my gender, uttered the same words. But if he did, patriarchal societies are forgotten. They used to exist in where male was dominant. They used to exist long time ago, the years of 50. But before we came to the millennium goal, number 3 was saying about equality. That is when women went to Beijing, in where they started arguing for themselves. Me, I'm a father of girls, I'm a father of boys. I don't have the difference between the two. No one applied to be born woman or man. So, when we came to the Vision 2030, the equality goal is number 5, SDG, in where people should be given equal opportunity. It is only cowards, Mr. Speaker, only cowards fighting on gender right. It's only a coward who do that. So, if you were born by a mother woman, you have married a woman wife, you are with a girl in the house, your daughter, I don't see the reason as to why you should be diminishing women. After all, brave men empowers women. Fighting line is not gender right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I think we are concluding on the same. Oh, there's another person who wants. We support you, women. Thank you.
Honorable Kamwana.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, this afternoon. Honorable Speaker, I'm going to use very little time, but I wish first to thank my immediate neighbor, Honorable Wajiro from Creator, but how I wish, although it would have come from anyone, but how I wish this statement would have been delivered by a nominated member, a female nominated member of this assembly. If it is anything to go by, the words that have been spoken before by Honorable Bogo and Honorable Kongo, saying that
Mr. Speaker, clarification.
What is it, Honorable Milka?
The point is not about nominated or elected. Once you refer to a woman as a prostitute, it cuts across all the women, whether elected or nominated. We earn our positions by hard work. So it is not about nominated, it's not about elected, it's about women.
Order. The point clarified. Proceed, Honorable Kamwana.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Not really. I cannot see it as a real clarification, because I had started by saying that it would have come from either the elected or the nominated, but it's only that he didn't wait me to finish and say that I was quoting, also I was referring to other two members who have spoken and have said that we really respect the nominated members who are here, and we expect a lot from them now that they could be having more time than the elected people because of the duties that they have on day-to-day basis. But I wanted to reckon and say that it is very good when it has come from her, knowing very well that as we say that we have a lot of duties, she equally has the same duties as an elected member. Honorable Speaker, I wanted to say that here in our county of Nyandarua, I want to remind us that the data that we have from, and especially with matters to do with education, we can be able to see from the last years and these years candidates who have sat for example, for the KCSE, that we had a higher number of female candidates than male candidates. What does that mean? That in our county, and especially for the Mount Kenya region, we used to have Kirinyaga reading with a number of female students who register for certain examinations, but we have taken them over as a county of Nyandarua, and that one shows clearly that our female gender is able to do very well. Honorable Speaker, as I finish, I wanted to say that most probably in near future, the two-third gender rule that has been set by our constitution may not have a lot of weight. Why? Because every day or every 5 years when we do an election, we are able to see more women coming into power. Even from the communities that we may say that are patriarch, as Honorable Bogo was saying, they are changing. For example, from the communities that we used to say that they had a lot of conservative culture, and especially from the pastoralist communities, we can be able to see that those communities now have been able to change their culture, and they are able now to elect anyone to the elective positions. So it's about competition, and we request everybody to come on board. We all have equal chances so that we can come and vie for these seats, and surely we'll be able to win. So, Honorable Speaker, I just wanted first and most sincerely thank Honorable Wanjiru, because these are things that are happening now, that they had that campaign, and she has been able to see that we do not cross the assembly before she has reiterated and, for example, reminded us that we need to have equal rights for all of us. As it has been said that we also have a lot of challenges as a men. Everywhere we are being fought by the women. So we need equality. It is not about from either side. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, allow me to give the last chance to Honorable Kuriadhu and Chairperson for Committee for Youth, Sports and Arts. Proceed. And Member for Gadaji.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to weigh in and join in the conversation that has been introduced by one Honorable Milka Wanjiru. Mr. Speaker, I want to encourage all the women in leadership in this great country of ours, and more specifically zero in to our great county of Nyandarua. Mr. Speaker, first is to congratulate them, every woman in leadership in this great county, because I know these positions are not gotten on a silver platter. It is always a struggle, and because they are our great sisters and our mothers, Mr. Speaker, I want to diminish the said words from the said member from Kiambu, although it's not well established, because we are not, we are depending on a circulating media print. Although, Mr. Speaker, I would also wish not to generalize. When one male does along, it should not be generalized as it's from all the men in this great county. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members, for ventilating to that statement, and I especially continue encouraging the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, that we contextualize the theme to include boy child as well, as has been ventilated by honorable members. Clerk, next order.
Order number 8, motions and bills. Mr. Speaker, sir, under this order, there is a motion to be moved by the Honorable Ruben Gitau Karanja, the member for Shamata Ward.
Honorable Ruben Gitau Karaja, member for County Assembly, Shamata Ward. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the following motion. Aware that the main objective of the construction and maintenance of roads is to provide efficient, reliable, and motorable roads to improve connectivity and ensure value for money, and that our county government spends a huge chunk of the budget on the county road infrastructure. Further aware that the Department of Transport, Public Works and Energy is mandated to make sure that there is value for money and making sure that the roads maintained are in good state so as to ensure smooth socioeconomic activities. That since the inception of the devolution, the county has seen a rapid expansion of the road network. Concerned that various heavy road transport such as loggers utilize our county roads to transport heavy roads to their destined business, thus causing destruction of our road infrastructure. Further concerned that the issuance of permits by the relevant national government agencies and authorities do not consult with the county government. Usage of county roads by the heavy roads trucks, especially during the rainy season. Mr. Speaker, appreciating that the county government has a duty to maintain and control the usage of county roads, including consulting and conferring with the government agencies in the implementation of AXO road control on county roads. Mr. Speaker, further appreciating that the county government can devise strategies aimed at utilizing local solutions for local challenges such as utilization of labor-based contracting for maintenance of drainage on county roads. Now, therefore, this House does resolve that the Department of Transport, Public Work, Housing and Energy does formulate a legal framework on AXO road control, particularly on county roads, limiting the weight loads of the various machineries, such as those used by logging companies, especially during the rainy season. Mr. Speaker, that the County Executive Committee, under the stewardship of His Excellency the Governor, does engage with the relevant national government agencies to devise modalities for regulations of logging activities during the rainy season. Mr. Speaker, that the County Executive Committee, through the Department of Youth Affairs, does within 60 days formulate a policy on ward labor-based contracting, especially among the youth, to be utilized in various county projects such as bush clearing, drainage clearing, and cleaning of urban centers across the county. Mr. Speaker, number 5, that the County Executive Committee, through the Department of Lands, Physical Planning, and Urban Development, does, within 60 days, formulate a framework for utilization of paving block plant at Orokarau for paving of urban centers across the county. That the County Executive Committee member for Transport does liaise with the County Executive Committee, that is Executive Committee member for Finance, to allocate funds per ward for culvert installation, drainage and stormwater management, bush clearing, and paving of urban centers. And the final one, Honorable Speaker, that the County Executive Committee member for Roads and Transport does provide a legal framework to limit the distance between the roads boundaries and spaces where trees are planted to ensure that tree canopies do not form on roads that may otherwise reduce the longevity of the roads. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, This motion is informed considering that this county, since devolution was formed, Honorable Speaker, county government have been allocating a lot of money to construction of our roads. And Honorable Speaker, you agree with me. If you look at some of our wards, that is some of the wards that we have that have a high number, a high coverage of forest cover. Shamata is one of the wards. And Honorable Speaker, in my ward is surrounded by forest cover. That is, in the north, we have Aberdare Forest. In the south, we have the Ragwa Forest. And in the other side, where we have the Borosat, it is also one of the areas where members of the public have invested heavily. That is using the companies that we have in terms of tree plantation, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, other than the surrounding, that is the forests that are surrounding my wards, our members of the public have been able to achieve the 22% forest cover that is expected by the national standards. As we speak today, Shamata Ward have a forest cover of above 30%, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, with this, if you look at the budget that has been allocated for the last 7 years, when I've been a member of this county assembly, the budget that have been allocated for my ward, specifically my ward, maybe not considering other wards, because last term, you remember, the county government had allocated a lot of money in machinery, that is buying machineries. At the same time, the target was to build the Maram Road, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, if I do, I give a very simple calculations on the money that have been allocated in my ward, both for machineries and the construction. You realize that in my ward, we have an average of 20 million per year, Honorable Speaker. That is for construction of Maram roads, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, if you do simple calculation, for the last 7 years, we have spent an average of 140 million, Honorable Speaker. In 7 years, we have spent an average of 140 million, Honorable Speaker. That is in construction of Maram roads in Shamata Ward. On average, if we are to go with that average in all the wards, Honorable Speaker, that is for both machinery and contractual works. You realize you'll have spent 140 million multiplied by 25 wards. That's an average of 3.5 billion, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, 3.5 billion is not a small amount of money. And what has been happening, we have been having problems with our roads since we came to this county assembly. Honorable Speaker, the roads that I constructed in the first year, my first year, that is in 2017, are the same roads that I'm constructing today. Why? Because there have been problems caused by other factors other than what has been happening. Honorable Speaker, one of my problem, and one of the major problem in Nyandarua, is drainage. The other one is issues to do with logging. Honorable Speaker, out of the 140 million that I've spent in my ward that have been given by the county government, 40% of this money, 40% of these roads have been destroyed by both logging and drainage problems, Honorable Speaker. And if you do a small tally in terms of the 140 million, in my ward, I've lost over 70 million to loggers and also drainage problems, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, if I give you a very simple example of what happened in Borosat, a village in Shamata, we have a farm called Matara Farm. Matara Farm has 80 acres of tree plantation, that is eucalyptus. And Honorable Speaker, when we talk of 80 acres of tree plantation, 1 acre of tree plantation of eucalyptus trees goes for allowed 4,000 trees, Honorable Speaker. So when we talk of 4,000 trees, as we speak today, they have cleared 30 acres. So by clearing 30 acres, we are talking of 30 acres times 4,000. They have been able to clear a total of 120,000 trees, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, in that area, I have 2 roads that I've lost to these loggers, Honorable Speaker. I have a road called Kajogu Road, which was 5 kilometers. This road has been destroyed to 0, Honorable Speaker. We don't have a road as we speak today because these loggers has come. They have used their heavyweight machineries to carry the logs. At the same time, they have been dragging the logs along the roads that we have. And Honorable Speaker, that is how we lost the road. We have another road called Gadorima Road, which is 4 kilometers. So in total, in that small village where this plantation called Matara Farm is located, and they have only cleared 30 acres, that is allowed almost 40% of the plantation. We have lost 2 roads, which is 9 kilometers. Honorable Speaker, as we speak today, to construct 1 Maram road in Nyandarua, you need an approximate of around 1.9 million. That is, you construct the road to completion from grading, compaction, and graveling, Honorable Speaker. So out of the 9 kilometers that we have lost, Honorable Speaker, in terms of money, if we are to tabulate in terms of money, we are using 1.9 million per kilometer. We have lost 17.1 millions to this farmer who has been working on this farm, which has been working on this tree plantation, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is alarming that out of the 17 million that we have lost as a county or as a ward, what the county is getting as revenue from these loggers, Honorable Speaker, I was checking on the finance bill report. That is for the last 9 months, Honorable Speaker. What we have as for the last 9 months is that the county government have collected 126 million for the last 9 months from permits, that is issuing permits to these loggers, and also 492 million from at least what the finance bill says that one tree should be paid 100 shillings. So out of the 30 acres that I have given you, out of the 120,000 trees that have been sold in that farm, that is only Shamata. And the report I have here is for the whole county. That is 492 million plus 492,000 plus 126,000. That is a total of 618. This is the money that have been collected by the finance, that is the revenue department in the whole county for the sale of trees. And as I speak here, I have 1 farm that within the last 3 months or 4 months, they have been able to harvest that acres, which is allowed 120 trees, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, if you look at this figure, and what we have lost as a county, that is 17 million in 1 ward, that is only 2 roads that have been destroyed. Honorable Speaker, you realize what we are doing in terms of the money that we have been investing in roads, and what we are getting in returns is negligible, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, away from the issue of destruction of logs, that is the destruction of roads using the logs, Honorable Speaker, there is also a gap, and it is also good to note because I have seen Honorable Chair, who is my chair, Honorable Wajohi, that is Honorable Kongo, that tells us there is a very big gap in terms of our ability as a county in revenue collection, because I would have expected that if we have sold 120,000 trees, if you are to multiply by 100, that is in the finance bill, that's around 12 million, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, one of the reasons why we are losing our roads to these loggers is because one, we have been allowing as a county the loggers to use very heavy machines in terms of transportation of their logs, Honorable Speaker. Today, as we speak, last 2 months at Matara Farm, they were using a 2-axle, that is double axle lorry which has a capacity of 12 tons, Honorable Speaker, and these honorable members are aware of what an axle means, because when you use a double axle lorry, which has a capacity of 12 tons, Honorable Speaker, with and you expect this machine to transport that heavy weight on a maram road, and Honorable Speaker, on this case, even if you are not to discuss the maram road in terms of during the rainy season, even on dry season, 12 tons, there is no way that road can hold that capacity, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, these loggers are very disciplined in terms of when it comes to transportation. They would even transport these logs during the rainy season, when the maram road is very weak, and in case they get stuck when they are transporting these logs, these loggers will still insist on putting the logs along the road that we have, and we end up losing the road due to the heavy weight, and also due to that those issues of working against the set standards, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, one of the reasons why I decided to move this motion, so that I request this House to adopt this motion, is that when it comes to permitting, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to permitting of these businessmen, you would realize that the county government has been responsible of maybe allocating the budget for construction of our roads. They have been responsible for maintenance of our roads. But by the end of the day, when it comes to permitting, that is giving people permission to use our roads, we have been able to, we have left this very important role to the national government, whereby you realize for you to transport or to cut trees in Nyandarua, for you to cut trees, to be allowed to cut trees in Nyandarua, you just need 2 permits. One from the Kenya Forest, which is a national government agency. The other one is from the area chief, that is a GAO, who is part of the national government. So what we have been doing, we have been constructing roads, and we have been leaving these roads to be managed by other agencies. And that is why they might not even understand the cost. So what they have been doing is just issuing permits without considering whether it is the rainy season, or even without considering what type of machines that these people are going to use when transporting their logs, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, one of our recommendations is that the minimum, what we want the county government to do is to formulate a policy or even a framework whereby we shall have an act so that you can be able to control this business, Honorable Speaker. We're not saying that they should not do business within our county. What we are saying is that they should continue doing their business, but within the set standards, such that the county government will not lose money. At the same time, members of the public will not lose the roads. At the same time, they will be able now to transport their logs within the set standards, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, one of the issues that we want these people, that is the county government, one of the issues that we want them to touch as they prepare their act is that the minimum tonnage for Maram Road, it is said, it is known, allowed 7 tons, Honorable Speaker. That is 1 axle, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, if we have this, even if the transporter wanted to transport his logs maybe to the main road, if he was to use the small ton, that is the 7-ton lorry, by the end of the day, he will still transport to the main road. Then if he wants to use the two axle, the double axle lorry, he can now maybe again repack and transport them, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, when it comes to the issue of permitting, we have a very serious problem, because this is where now the county government is failing, Honorable Speaker. Because if you have been able to allocate money, just like I have said, you have allocated the human resource, you have engineers to follow, you have people on the ground who have been able to follow what is happening on the ground, and you only fail in only one part, that is giving permit. You give that law to other agencies. Honorable Speaker, you're very sure that you eventually fail, because if you don't follow up, by the end of the day, you lose the whole thing. So what we want is that the Department of Finance, Public Works, that is roads, we have a chief officer who is the accounting officer. We also have our own ward admin, sub-county admin, and we also have the local leadership. They are the one who understands their roads, even their area. If it is a rainy season, why would you give permit to a company to transport these logs during rainy season, Honorable Speaker? So if the county government is properly involved, I am very sure that they will be able now to protect their roads, and that is why I'm saying the Ministry of Public Works and also the Ministry of Public Service, where the ward admin and the sub-county admins are there, so that they can work together, so that at the end of the day, and if it is possible, they can even include maybe somebody from the office of the MCA, because the MCA is the one who understands the problem that these people are going through when it comes to poor roads or even destruction of roads. And in case of maybe as they form their policy, in case a company or a transporter would still wish to insist that he still wants to transport these logs against the rules that are there, what we would propose maybe in the policy, a proper calculation is done in terms of how much is needed per kilometer. If the destruction is expected is a kilometer, the transporter should deposit an equal amount of money with the county government, so that in case there will be any destruction, that money will be used to construct that road. Because, Honorable Speaker, we are all politicians, and we know very well these are the same people who are reading the members of the public to incite them that the leadership that they voted is not working for them. Just because he came and his lorry is stuck, and that lorry is stuck because a previous another transporter had used the same lorry and destroyed it. So as we speak, the losers are the politicians, that is the political leadership that is there, that is the MC and the governor, and also the members of the public, because eventually they will not be able to use that road. So, Honorable Speaker, part of the recommendation is that the permitting should be done by the county government. And if they were to involve the Kenya Forest and also the chiefs, let the major role be played by the county government. That is what we are proposing, so that as they bring the policy, we can follow up. Honorable Speaker, if you look at what happens at Kenya, Kenya have a very good act whereby they follow exactly what's supposed to be done. What do I mean? They have a method to protect their road. They have an act whereby they have the weighbridge, and if you are supposed to carry a specific amount of weight, depending on your lorry, and you maybe they get you that you have overloaded your lorry, there is a penalty for that, Honorable Speaker. The same case should happen. I have seen Kenya, they have even the mobile weighing balance, whereby if you don't pass through the weighbridge, we have other officers who can use the mobile vehicles and maybe get you specifically where you are, and they weigh your vehicle, and in case it is overloaded, they will penalize you and charge you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, that does not mean that the county government is not a government. The county government is a government like any other government. So we should also have rules and policies that should help us so that we can get these people. So in case you are caught with a double axle lorry on our Maram road, there should be a penalty for the same. And in case you're caught cutting trees without a permit, there should be a penalty for the same. If in case you are found dragging logs along Maram roads, there should be a penalty for the same. So, Honorable Speaker, as much as we have devolution, county government is a devolved unit, and what we need to do is to exercise our powers and our mandate, so that by the end of the day, we can get what we want. Honorable Speaker, we have the issue of machinery, because if you look at what was the spirit of our machinery program, when we invested over 500 million for buying county machineries, we expected that this program would run very smoothly. At the same time, we would help our people, which has been happening. But there is a very important aspect that was left, Honorable Speaker, and the chairman for those would mention it. I'm sure he is preparing to second this motion. The issue of the machineries that we have in this county. We have been allocating money maybe to a minimum of 4 million at a maximum of 8 million per ward, Honorable Speaker. And what we have invested in is the area of grading, whereby you grade the road, and graveling and compaction. But when it comes to the issue of drainage, when it comes to budgeting and also the framework that we have, we omitted that part, Honorable Speaker. And these have resulted to construction of very good roads. And whenever there is an issue to do with drainage and blockages of roads, Honorable Speaker, we end up losing these roads, Honorable Speaker. And that is why I am requesting the county executive, as they form this policy, to consider addition of at least 1 million per ward. That is a total of around 25 million. So that by the end of the day, when we are working, like now they are in my ward, and what we are doing is only grading, graveling, and compaction, Honorable Speaker. And there are areas that need caravans for drainage, Honorable Speaker. So as they work on the drainage and compaction, as they work on the graveling and compaction, Honorable Speaker, if this county government can buy the equipment that are used for construction of making of caravans, Honorable Speaker, because you realize, Honorable Speaker, in the normal way, if you are to go the contractual way, Honorable Speaker, one line of caravat of 6 caravats, Honorable Speaker, it's about 250,000. And that means if you have 1 million, you only do construct 4 lines, Honorable Speaker. And why is construction and the contractual way very expensive? Because there is the issue of profit, Honorable Speaker. So when you talk of 250,000 for 1 line of 6 caravats, we are talking of there is a profit margin of around 30%, and there is also money for KRA, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, if the county government was to adopt, the framework way, we would run away from the issue of tax, the issue of profit, and that means the money that we would allocate, even if it is 1 million, if we have the equipment to construct the caravans, at least by the end of the day, we shall be able to construct more caravans. And at the same time, there will be value for money, Honorable Speaker. So my proposal is that the county government should buy the equipment for caravan works, that is construction of caravans. At the same time, just like we did buy the machinery, and we reduce the cost of construction of 1 kilometer. And Honorable Speaker, when it comes to this machinery, what we are proposing is addition of 1 million from what we have been getting. Like now, in the ADP that we are working on as a budget committee, we have allocated 4 million for machinery program. So if we can add 1 million, maybe with the blessing of the governor, and the 1 million is specifically for construction of these caravans, and then a proper research is done on the equipment that is needed for caravan works, that is making of caravans. We make sure that every unit, because we have 5 units, every unit have 1 caravan, one unit of this equipment that does that work. By the end of the day, that work will be very smooth, and we shall have value for money. Honorable Speaker, maybe the last one. Other than the caravans, there is the issue of drainage, whereby in case there is blocking of the drainage that we have in our roads, by the end of the day, that we shall lose that road to poor drainage, Honorable Speaker. And what is required is only a group of young men, maybe in every village, depending on where you're working, to be following up on issues of unclogging and also opening up with bush clearing. There is the issue of trees forming canopies on top of our roads. and that have been limiting the amount of sunlight that has been reaching on the Maram roads, and that has been forming a weak point for potholes, Honorable Speaker. And that's how we have been losing our roads, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, we are proposing that this county government would engage the young people that we have in the ground, just like we have been doing with the spreading of Maram, Honorable Speaker. If you look at the framework of the machinery, we have an area whereby we have been engaging our young people, and we've been paying them for spreading, Honorable Speaker. On the same note, we should still use the same framework and engage our young people in opening up the drainage, and also clearing the bushes, and also making sure that in case there are some trees that are forming canopies on our roads, we are able to work on them, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I was proposing, even if we were to work with 50 young people in the world for 3 months, Honorable Speaker, and we pay them at least 500 per day. So by the end of the day, if you do just simple calculation, 50 people per day is 500, that's around 25,000 per day. And if they were to work for 25 days in a month, that is around 625,000. So if they were to work in a year, within a year they work only 3 months, that would give you only 1.8 million. So the governor and his team, that is the Ministry of the Public Works, should consider that if award is given around 1.9 million, and this money will be able now to work on those drainage, those bush clearing and all that. And by the end of the day, in the county, we shall only use 46 million, and we shall have created employment and at the same time protected our roads from from damage, from destruction and all that. Honorable Speaker, I think that is all, and I would wish to request honorable members that in this house, both elected and nominated, that we support this motion so that the county government can embark on forming a policy whereby we shall be having a very proper framework on the policy on young people, kazi kwa vijana, so that we can engage at least quite a number of young people in our wards. At the same time, the issue to do with logging, we have very indisciplined business people who have been in the forefront of destruction of our roads. And by the end of the day, we shall end up allocating a lot of money, and there will be no value for money. So with those few remarks, I beg for support of this motion and call my good friend, the Chairman Roads, Honorable Bogo, to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Bogomburu, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. And this is a very good motion in where, as a county, it will help us still continue growing. I remember when we came into this county, the estimate number of roads that were all weather, we are not even halfway the way we have done. But Mr. Speaker, this motion is trying to bring a wake-up call to the Department of Roads, which I chair and you are a member, in coming up with a formula of policy that now will not restrictly talk of building. Now we are going to go to the step of protecting and finally maintenance. When he was talking, he brought it very clear about the logging. Mr. Speaker, it's shameful. I happened to travel to Gadara during one of the days, and I sympathize with the people, locals, and even the member. Mr. Speaker, remember in the county, we have natural forests that are under KWS. There comes a time when they are sold, and I don't know what you expect when a traffic of more than 10 double wheel or double axle wheelers are traveling roads during a rainy season. What will happen to those roads? Mr. Speaker, we also have other forests. We have forests in the rurals. We have like Shamuka, they called or Borsat. We have Turaga and the others, only to mention a few. When the government have that policy of selling or rather harvesting the already grown trees, it's a havoc in the society. Another one is the agroforestry. in where we have trees that are planted for commercial use by members. What we are saying, we are not diminishing, or we are not trying to come up with a motion that is going to demean the good work of selling or the business in woodwork. What we are saying is that we want it controlled. If the government is controlling it on the highways, why not Nyandarua? That is why we are saying it beats logic when you see a person. In fact, I was also traveling. I met with another one in Nyandarua Central. A full fallen tree, Mr. Speaker. Even the branches are not removed. And then it is wheeled, pulled over a road by a tractor. Mr. Speaker, that is illogical, and we need to come up with a policy that is going to strictly control these people when they are logging. We are reminding the executive, we have already done a road. Now it comes to maintenance. You know that if a stitch is not made in a day, then it will make the whole government tall. If a pothole is not maintained in a day, then eventually you know what will happen. So we are trying to urge the department. It's only a mad person who does the same thing repeatedly and expect different results. We have done it in the years, in the now close to 10 plus years of devolution. We want to a little bit change in where we are going to bring in manpower. People who can be traveling along the roads. I know it is going to be beneficial both to our youths and even the locals when we are doing the politicking and everything. In where youths can be ascertained a different road in the society, they should be maintaining it and caulking the culverts. Of course, putting down the canopies is putting, that is part of protecting, or that is a part of maintenance. So in other words, Mr. Speaker, the building of roads in this county, it is substantially well. The only juncture that is remaining is protecting in where the notorious people who are using the already made roads in an conducive way should be controlled. And finally, when we bring in our youth to maintain the same. We are urging the executive, of course, with the agreement of the governor and everybody who is going to be part of the same, we are going to assist. Even if called in as a department or even an assembly, we are going to stew the skeleton and then we are going to come up with a policy. Mr. Speaker, this one reminds me, when we came up with the first Road 2000 policy, nobody believed that roads can be done by county government. Everybody never believed. But with the sole government, this assembly, in the last assembly dispensation, we came up with a framework which is working today, and you know it is working. So we are simply trying to add with this motion, well supported by these members, that it will be grown from the building now to protecting and maintenance of the already done, which is now going to help our county, that we are not going to repeat. If we come up with a framework of the culvert making, we are going to straight away avoid payment of taxes in this one because it's a framework which is allowed in law. We are going to avoid the profit that is expected to go to the person, to the contracted person, as he's putting it. Because you very well know, if you do a road and then drainage is not there, drainage is part of the formation of the road. When Macadam came up with the way, the Macadam Highway, it is the Macadam Highway is the one that is raised and then it is covered at the top. That idea of drainage is the one that protects that road. But if water is around on the same road, then it is not going to go for years. So we support and urge members that they are going to support. I will not zero in on the area of monitoring because I know it is going to involve the department, the budget committee and everything, because when we are trying to pull money, I know it's a problem. But we are simply saying we first of all come up with a policy that is allowing even them that are going to put their irreducible minimum in this one, they can be able to do it. So I support and urge the department when approved, because I know members are going to approve this, they move with speed so that we can come up with a policy. It is a little bit changing the Road 2000 we had, now from building to protecting and even maintenance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I support and congratulate the mover.
Honorable Member, do you second?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I've said I've congratulated the mover and seconded the motion.
The motion is duly moved and seconded. I now propose the question, which is that Department of Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy does formulate a legal framework on axle load control, particularly on county roads, limiting the weight load of the various machineries, such as those used by logging companies, especially during the rainy seasons, that the County Executive Committee, under the stewardship of His Excellency the Governor, does engage with the relevant national government agencies to devise modalities for regulation of logging activities during the rainy season, that the County Executive Committee, through the Department of Youth Affairs, does within 60 days formulate a policy on ward labor-based contracting, especially among the youths, to be utilized in various county projects such as bush clearing, drainage, clearing, and cleaning of urban centers across the county. That the County Executive Committee, through the Department of Roads, that the County Executive Committee, through the Department of Lands, Physical Planning and Urban Development, does within 30 days formulate a framework for utilization of the paving block plant at all Kalau for paving of urban centers across the county, that the County Executive Committee member for Transport does liaise with the County Executive Committee member for Finance to allocate funds per ward for culvert installation, drainage and storm water management, bush clearing and paving of urban centers, and that the County Executive Committee member for Roads and Transport does provide a legal framework to limit the distance between the roads boundaries and spaces where trees are planted to ensure that tree canopies do not form on roads that may otherwise reduce the longevity of the roads. Honorable Kamwana, member for Dadara.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Such a motion would not have come at a better time than this one, Honorable Speaker. And without delivering so much on what has been spoken here before by the mover and also by the seconder, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that I'm one member who, this county having no regulation on the axle roads, on the weights that move across our roads, I'm affected very much. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that 10 years of devolution, not 10 years, but more than now 12 years of devolution. It is very sad where now such a county like Nyandarua, where we know that most of the time we usually have rain, and our other roads are very much affected by the rainfall, and we don't have a regulation. What used to happen, Honorable Speaker, before is that the business of rubbering in our county had not moved a notch higher, whereby now the people involved are using heavy machinery. When we are growing up, we only used to expect a tractor to ferry the rocks to the sawmill, but now the big boys, that is the big brothers, have come now with the very big heavy machines that are doing this business. How, Honorable Speaker, I wish they could be even adopting other methods that are being used there in the Arctic region, where they throw the rocks to the river and they go and they weight them at downstream, where now they have the industries. But Honorable Speaker, let me say this, that when we are growing up, we even used to have barriers on our roads. That is the access roads that we have in the villages. We used to have barriers where now the local people could control the vehicles or the traffic that would come to the countryside, either to pick the logs for this matter or other agricultural products. But now down the line, I don't know what happened, that we have been able to loosen our routes on our roads, such that no one cares, as long as at the end of the day you make as much money as possible. Honorable Speaker, because most of what I would wish to see in this document has already been captured, I want to say that how I wish the Department of Roads and other structural infrastructures can fast track repairing and bringing those roads here to the County Assembly so that we can be able to pass them within the shortest time possible. And Honorable Speaker, I want to remind you that I'm the chairman of the implementation committee, and I can be able to see that dates have been set in this motion. And I'll be able to strictly follow on them to see that the executive brings forward the regulations in good time. As I finish, Honorable Speaker, I want to request the committee and also the Department of Roads to buy from the regulations that are in the United States of America. How I request honorable members, and especially those who are elected, to go and see how roads are being built in the US. In the US, they say that they very much value Maram roads than the tarmac roads. But I see members can be able to see how roads are being done in the US and how they are able to achieve good quality and how also they maintain their roads. I request that from the Department of our Roads, we still have several machineries that we need to buy that can be able to up our game in the construction of Maram roads. Honorable Speaker, allow me to mention one machine that is known as a crusher that can always follow the trucks as they dump the Maram. The crusher can move along and crush to a standard of a good aggregate that when mixed by the grader and when compacted, it achieves a very good strength. And when, for example, we adopt a good curve, whereby now the rainfall or any other water can be able to fall on both sides of the road very well. And now it is, as it moves to the drainages that had been requested, can be done even by our local people. And for this matter, our youth who are jobless, we can be able to achieve a very good quality and roads that can be able to achieve even more longevity. I support this motion with all due respect, Honorable Speaker. Thank you so much.
Honorable Milka Wajiro, then we go to Honorable Munaumi in that order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I rise from the onset to support the motion and also congratulate the member for Shamata, who is my colleague from my constituency, for this very timely motion. In fact, this motion should have come yesterday in this House. Mr. Speaker, it's very sad that at such a time, more than 10 years after the devolved governments were formed, that we are still complaining about laws and policies that were supposed to be formed by the government. Mr. Speaker, Article 185.2, 186.1, and 187.2, and the fourth schedule describes clearly on what is supposed to be what was supposed to be devolved to the county governments. That is after when the 2010 Constitution was passed. It's sad now that we're still talking about who does what in this country, Mr. Speaker. And it is the high time we rise to take up whatever it's supposed to be done by the county government. I've said severally in this assembly that it is the high time we unbound the functions of the county governments. The functions, the devolved functions that were clearly given to the county government by the Constitution in Schedule 4 and the articles that I have mentioned. Mr. Speaker, a Gazette notice on supplement number 116 of 9th of August 2013 defines devolved forestry functions that include farm forestry, extension services, forest and games reserves, formerly managed by the local authorities, including forest management by Kenya Forest Service, National Water Towers Agency, and private forest. Hence, Nyandarua County Forestry Function, and this is what I want honorable members to hear, were transferred via legal notice number 166 of the 9th of August 2013. Consequently, Mr. Speaker, when these functions were transferred, the county government, in collaboration with the national government and other forestry stakeholders, was supposed to formulate or to develop something they called Transitional Implementation Plan. This was the plan to define clearly how the forestry will be managed in this country. What will the government, national government do, and what will the county government do? And I'm proud to say in Nyandarua County, there is what we call Transitional Implementation Plan 2020-2025. That was passed in the last regime. It is still in force, but the big question is it being implemented? And how far is the implementation? Because if we really know how far the implementation is, Honorable Getao will not be sitting here. I wouldn't say lamenting, but I feel like we are complaining, lamenting on what would have been implemented by law, by policies, because governments are run by policies and laws. If that transitional implementation plan is being implemented in this country or in this county, honorable member for Shamata will not be complaining about logging in his ward, logging in my ward, and logging in the county government of Nyandarua. Simply because we'll just have to look at that implementation plan and see what the national government have to do and what the county government do. Unfortunately, forest and forestry is not taken seriously in this country and in this county. And that is why you see people doing whatever is it that they want to do, like coming to the forest, cutting down trees, and doing everything that they want to do because there is a confusion. And this motion now is seeking to bridge that gap on confusion, that the county government ought to know what it's supposed to do. And the honorable member clearly said, we ought to know how are we licensing this. Because the roads that are destroyed are roads under the county government. The money goes to the national government. They don't give that money back to us. It is given to the Department of Forestry. I think there should be a law clearly stating that if roads are destroyed by those trucks, then that money should come back. A certain percentage should come back and repair those roads. So therefore, Mr. Speaker, I'm supporting this motion strongly and ask the county government, and especially the executive committee member for water, where forestry falls, there is a document called Transitional Implementation Plan. If you implement that it is causing a lot of problems in our roads. Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the notion that we need to revive the community, the community involvement in some of these works. It used to happen before devolution. I have not seen it happen, but with the introduction of that recommendation that we involve our young people or we involve community in doing some of these works, I think it will solve a lot of problems. That introduction of a fund or money to the young people, probably they work once in a year to clear the bushes, to clear the canopies, and it is well anchored in law. There's a framework. I think already the community will own that project. They will feel part of that project. Therefore, when they clear the bushes, maybe once a year or twice a year, our roads will take long before they are destroyed, and we'll save money to do other things, maybe take that money to hospital and other needed cases, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, I support that issue of involving our youth, and that framework should come as fast as possible. I know we are doing the budget and needs to come so that we can implement that and put it in the budget so that our young people can get involved in the community work so that they can also own their own road, own their own project in our community. And finally, Mr. Speaker, on the issues of culverts. Drainage is very critical in road maintenance, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I want to report here that the machineries are doing so well, and the kind of work we are doing on the ground is immense. However, if we are not careful, and with the kind of rains in Nyandarua County, we might be repeating roads every other year. Why? Because drainage is a critical component in roads construction. And in our policy for machinery, we had not provided for the drainage works in our roads. So I want to agree with the members that if we introduce a certain clause that says this amount will go to drainages, we can choose whether it's caravat, depending on the topography of your area. You could choose whether it's caravat, you could choose whether it's drainage tunnels, or you could choose whatever is it that, whether it's clearing by labor-based contracts. But it is very, very important we include an aspect of drainage, whether caravat, whether drainage itself, so that then we can increase, we can make sure that our roads stays longer before being destroyed, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, I want to support the member and say that I am in agreement with every sentiment of that statement, and the faster it is implemented, the better for us and better for the people of Kirita Ward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Honorable Naomi Ngatia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine will be very brief. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to support this motion by Honorable Ruben Gitau. And Mr. Speaker, important to have this framework because it will help not only the farmers and the youth to access jobs, but even the county at large. Our county will be able to grow economically because we'll be able to open access to essential services like food. We'll be able to open road network to hospitals, dispensaries, and other services, Mr. Speaker. So I believe that the departments should work very quick to bring this framework so that we can also help the young people in this county. Mr. Speaker, when we have labor-based jobs, Mr. Speaker, that help the young people, we are able to give these people an opportunity to grow themselves, to grow their families, and to even grow the county. We'll have a lot of security economically and in other aspects, Mr. Speaker. And with that said, I support the honorable member for Shamata, and I support the motion.
Honorable Kuria Dhuo, member for Adaji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of this motion, bearing in mind that I come from an area rich in the forest vegetation cover. That is the Ouroborosat forests, touching on my Shamuka and Gadanje locations. Mr. Speaker, I'm a witness of the kind of damages the logging does on our Maram roads. And Mr. Speaker, it forces us to eat into our development, ward development fund, whereby we are forced to redo a road that it was previously done in a very short span. Mr. Speaker, in this I propose about the policy during the framework session that we should have a return on revenue formula whereby the revenue generated during the logging in the certain ward a percentage or a proportion of the revenue generated from that ward, it should be bounced back to the ward for the repairs and maintenance of the road already that will be already damaged. Mr. Speaker, I also, we have also pointed out that this is a revenue stream that has so many loopholes that need to be sealed. Giving the explanation that the Honorable from Shamata has given, whereby in a place that we were to correct over 100 million, only 12 million was corrected. That is, it shows that that is a loophole that need to be sealed further so that our county can generate the revenue. Mr. Speaker, as the chairperson of the youth and sports in this great county of ours, Nyandarua, I encourage in the sentiments that we should revive back the Kazi kwa Vijana program, whereby they will be used to maintaining our roads, that is the drainages and the culverts, and so we will be having an activity to engage our youths in this great county of Nyandarua. In that regard, Mr. Speaker, I support this motion. Thank you.
Honorable Isaac Bae, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know, my name, as you know that my name is Isaac and Honorable Kongo is Isaac. So the moment you mention Isaac, whoever comes first. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support this motion and also to appreciate the move of this motion because it came at the right time when I remember in last few days I visited one ward, that is Gadara ward. And Honorable Speaker, it was a serious embarrassment to see about 20 trucks of loggers, you know, in a feeder road that was just constructed using the county machineries. You can realize how we are losing the value of the money that we are allocating at this great county. Now, if we fail to regulate them, and I'm happy that such a motion is here now in this house, if we fail to regulate them, what we will do is that we lose the value of what we allocate to ensure that our roads are passable. Honorable Speaker, we all understand that Nyandarua is a rainy county where the rain is most, we experience rain now and then. We need to have a formula that will indicate even the time that those loggers should harvest the trees. Considering, Honorable Speaker, that if it happened like in April or at the rainy season like what is happening at this time, we'll be just allocating money for the same road and will not go for any other new road with that. Cheaper and it can be of a cheaper cost, and it can be done in a very easy way of because that is now the new technology that is coming, Honorable Speaker. When we talk about involving our young people, that is the best way we can do, Honorable Speaker. You realize that most of the time we are using our young people to go and put fire off when the forests are on fire. And that's when now you find the county commissioner trying to call even honorable members to mobilize the young people from his area to go and put off the fire. But when it comes where they can benefit and put something in their pocket, they are forgotten, Honorable Speaker. So it is now the time. We hope that working with when the Department of Youth is involved, then we'll be able now to get our young people engaged on something else, Honorable Speaker. This is one of the very serious documents that is brought in this assembly. And now what we need is to get a quick response. Otherwise, if we left things as they are in the papers, then we will end up not doing the right thing, Honorable Speaker. We can only do this and save our county because we are in this assembly to ensure that happens, Honorable Speaker. Out of this motion, Honorable Speaker, and I would like also to commend the mover of this motion. You realize that today he is very smart, and I was wondering whether he was sponsored by someone, but I can tell you the guy he looks sharp, and he can only wear an Italian suit, Honorable Speaker. But it is only found at Sarit Center in Nairobi. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I support the motion.
Honorable Isaac Kongo, member for Wajohi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm happy today, and more specifically when I listened to the contribution of members. I think it is very nice. This is a moment that I enjoy being in the Assembly, and I can say that the level of participation and debate is on another level. Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate the mover of this motion, and I want to support from outside because it's a good motion. Honorable Speaker, you realize that the issue of logging in Nyandarua has become a problem, not because logging is a crime, but we have not been able to control logging in Nyandarua, and things have changed. You look at the statistics, you realize that Nyandarua is among the counties that has got the highest tree cover. If I come to the forest cover, we are about the fourth, with around 27% tree cover. Of course, the Nyeri is leading with 40%, Ramu and Kilifi, but that is forest cover. But when it comes to the rural trees cover, Nyandarua is among the leading, with also approximately 26%. And this is where there is commercial, a lot of commercial harvesting of tree happening within the rural areas, not even in the forest, the government forests. And I think the member and the mover is more specifically concerned about the rural kind of tree logging, not the forest that is done by the KFS, the logging that is done by the KFS occasionally. The other point I want to bring home, Honorable Speaker, you realize that in this country, the tonnage, or those lorries that are involved in transport, the tonnage is controlled. We have given Kenya the responsibility of controlling tonnage. Even you go to the top, there are 9 toll stations in this country, 9 of them. And their purpose is to control the road within the vehicles that are able to pass through our roads, mainly the main truck road and the tarmac road. And you realize the Kenya control roading within their own roads, that is Kera and Kenya roads. But as counties, when the functions were transferred, and one of the functions of the county, they were given rural roads, the feeder roads within the county. Most of the counties, Nyandarua included, did not come up with a regulation or a registration on how to control roading within those feeder roads. Because if you don't control, then what happens? We must be able to indicate and know a Maram road within Nyandarua County with the specific kind of soils that we have, the clay soil. What capacity of a road can a lorry be expected to carry? If you don't control that, the issue of road problem in this county will never end. It will be a vicious circle. Why am I saying that? If you look at the main truck in the country, they allow up to 48 tons. That is the 6-axle vehicle. But if you look at the nature of our soil, and I appreciate what Honorable Ketau is saying, he's saying that we should come up with a legislation that allow only one axle that can carry up to a maximum of 10 tons. Because if we don't do that, we are going to destroy our road and even destroy our caravan works. Because what is happening right now, we have allowed some of the companies, even outside this county, they come with their big lorries, with their trailer, they get into the interiors where the farmers are selling their trees, and the road that has been done there has no capacity of withholding that kind of weight. So in a single day, Honorable Speaker, you can wake up and realize a full road of about 4 kilometers has been destroyed by just one road of a lorry. This is a road that, if you look at the cost of doing a road in Nyandarua right now, it is around 1.3 million per kilometer. 1.5 million per kilometer. You can imagine a road of 4 kilometers, that is about 6 million. A farmer goes there, sells some trees of about 200,000 or 150,000. It is ferried along the road. A road of 6 million is destroyed. What happens? As much as we want to support economically our farmers, what happens? Tomorrow morning, all the people from that village will wake up and tell the MCA of the area, we want a new road. Are we having value for our money? Where we would have controlled the weight, we would have gone and harvested the trees, using one axle, ferry the road to the main road, that is the tarmac, and then ferry the road wherever, or to the company where they want to take the logs. So I agree we need to come up with a registration. And within this registration, Honorable Speaker, I am proposing that it should be a kind of a minibus registration that tackles a lot of issues. Because you realize we have also not come up with a registration of penalty, fining some of our very notorious people within our wards, and I will say that. You go and do a road, somebody comes at their own gate, they bury the drainage because they want to access to their homes. So when the waters are coming along the water paths or along the drainage, the water stagnates at the gate. What happens eventually? It destroys them. Then we should come up with a registration so that we can empower our people and tell them what happens when I do a road, and by the next day or next week when I'm coming along, you have buried the trench. What should happen? Today I'm left without any road. I go talking to the chief. The chief can only use some good language to the owner of the homestead. But then we should, because that property or that waterway or that drainage does not belong to that person. It belongs to the government. It is a reserve of the government. Then we should come up with a registration. Otherwise we will be doing roads after roads, but these roads will not be even lasting for 2 years or 3 years because the drainage are not in place. The other issue that I want to propose to this House, and I want to support my Vice Chair, is about the issue of caravans. We all know that we have 5 units of machinery that is working in this county. Why then don't we sit down, and because we do roads through the machinery program without caravans, because we have not been able to place the component of caravat within the machinery. I support Honorable Bae. We had, within our machinery, we had balloons that are used to do the caravats. We can do 5 balloons, each balloon for each and every unit. It is not costly. It's around 300,000. So 5 balloons is 1.5 million. And then we do what we call the mixer, the concrete mixer. So that when, for example, I know machinery in Geta for the Speaker's Award, when they are doing there, at the same time they are doing balloon, because there is a mixer there, and there is, by the time you finish that road, you have done everything. You have done the graveling, you have compacted, and you have done the caravats, and you have done the drainage works. That way, we will do roads that are going to last, and we are going to give value to our people. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I also want to propose and support the issue of, if you look at the national government, they have what we call the fuel levy. The fuel levy is not meant to do new roads. It is meant to maintain. But for us in this county, we don't have a fund that we use to maintain our roads. So then I would support that we need to have a fund whereby we are going to implement something like kazi kwa vijana mtaani. You know, these days people don't do roads. They say they are paying taxes. The county governments came in. So everything has been left to the governor and the MCA to go and do that road. Even anybody sees that the road is, the water is stagnating somewhere, they cannot go out and do that road. They say we pay taxes, do the roads. Then we come up with a fund whereby we have kazi kwa vijana, and the January, February, March, we have our youth engaged to do drainage and block the caravats. And I think that one is possible, Honorable Speaker. We can be able to bring such kind of a framework. And when we do that, I can assure you that our roads are going to be sustainable and they are going to give service to our people. Then, what happens, Honorable Speaker? now that the motion has been moved. And I can read the mood of the House that they are going to support. What happens? Honorable Speaker, and I would advise the mover to take up the matter and own this motion and get to the, either through the committee roads or through another ad hoc committee, get with our legal people and not wait. I know most of the times we come here and tell the executive that we want you to do a bill, we want you to do a registration, bring to this assembly and we pass it. Most of the time they don't do it. And we are aware of that. There is nothing that prevents us from doing a proposal, a registration proposal to the executive for them to adopt and bring it back here. We pass it. Because I think that is something that is affecting all of us, and these are good ideas that have been given by these members. When the mover of the motion retires and takes all these suggestions and good proposals that have been given by these members, let him sit with the legal team within this assembly, make a proposal, a registration proposal that you are going to cater for drainage, that is going to cater for kazi kwa vijana, that is going to cater for all the issues that we have been able to bring here, the logging issue. And after that, maybe within the next 6 months, by the time we do the next budget, we have a registration in this assembly that are going to allow these members to allocate money for caravans, to allocate money for kazi kwa vijana, and to do all these good things that we are suggesting today. With those few remarks, I want to once again to appreciate my vice chair, and today and say that today I felt intimidated because he has more smarter than the chairman. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You may call the mover to respond.
And I call the mover to respond.
Thank you, Speaker. I wish to start from onset by appreciating the members of this assembly, that is my colleagues, who have really supported this motion, and they have seen the sense in the motion that we really need the policy in place and also the frameworks. And I would wish to start by what Honorable Kamwana, is it Kamwana? Yes. Yes, Honorable Kamwana have said. He has mentioned issues to do with yes, what Honorable Kamwana said is that we need to adopt the issue of technology, considering that in older days they used to transport logs using water and all that is the river. And what we need to do is that the issue of engaging the local people. Honorable Speaker, it is true that you have listened to these members, and you can tell that when you engage the young people or even the local people in terms of reporting those loggers who have been misusing our roads, it will be more easier. And the county government is more closer to the people than even the national government. And I agree with Honorable Kamwana that as much as we want to engage the chief and the Kenya Forest and also our water admin and maybe the village elders, if we have them, we also need to engage the local people in terms of giving us information. Honorable Wajiro, thank you very much for your support, and I agree on the research that you've done on the papers that are in the Department of Water. A lot of work has been done, even when you are there as a minister, and you agree, and you've highlighted some issues considering the transition of implementation of a plan that is on the takeover of the county government on issues to do with the Kenya Forest and management of forest. It is true, Honorable Speaker. As much as forest is devolved, county governments are only engaged during the National Tree Planting Days. If there were no National Tree Planting Day, there would be no engagement between the county government and the Kenya Forest, Honorable Speaker. And that tells you the devolution, that is the devolvement of forest services to the county government, was only done in papers, like Honorable Wajiro is saying. So what needs to be done is the COG, together with the relevant authorities, to sit down and at least work and push for whatever is devolved should be done fully. It is not in papers, Honorable Speaker, because what we have seen is just hypocrisy and a deliberate move to delay what has been devolved to the county governments so that it is left at the national government. And you really don't understand why, because if they wanted to support the county governments, they would still give the county governments the leeway and manage the forest, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Ajiro, the issue of revenue and the issue of yes, you mentioned the issue to do with the revenue, and also the minister in charge of forestry, which is also the minister of water, who should do a follow-up. I think Honorable Kamwana have said that he is in charge of implementation. We are going to work together, and at least as we mobilize all what have been commented in this motion, when it comes to implementation, we also seek your support, Honorable Speaker, because again, this House needs to work as a team, so that as we make recommendations and make papers, that is, we give papers and recommendation to the executive. We also need to work as a team, so that the Speaker and the Office of the Speaker and the Office of the members are together, so that by the end of the day, the executive will work hand in hand with us. We have worked on the Honorable Naomi. I've mentioned, and I must say that Honorable Naomi is one of the nominated MCAs who is working very hard with the elected MCAs, so that she can achieve one of very, very dear role. That is the issue to do with the young people. I can confirm she has come to my ward. Issues to do with supporting the young people, motivating them to work hard in school and all that. So I must say that you're one of the nominated members who is working very hard to support the young people. You've talked about the labor-based program, which will engage the young people so that they can get something in their pocket, maybe to support their daily activities, that is their normal activities, and at the same time protecting the roads. Yes, we shall work very hard to make sure that that policy is in place. Honorable Duo, and a young leader who is a young person and who is elected from Ganaji and is working very hard to make sure that the people of Ganaji are getting what's supposed to be done. Yes, we agree. You've raised a very important point, that is the issue of return on revenue formula, where if a ward has contributed in terms of revenue, and the Ministry of Finance and the Revenue Department has collected a substantial amount of money from a specific area, and maybe that area needs some repair of the roads. Yes, it is true. If it's possible, the budget committee, together with the finance committee, they can work together and at least do a evaluation whereby an equal amount of money, depending on what was contributed by the ward, is also taken back to the ward. Yes, I agree, Honorable Bai. Thank you very much. You've talked about the youth agenda, and also the issue, the most important point is the issue of the follow-up, that we have been able to adopt a motion in this county assembly, but the executive is reluctant on the implementation. Yes, I agree. We must work very hard, and together with the implementation, budget, and all the members, and I'm happy I'm with my chair, Honorable Bogo, because almost all the resolutions are lying on public works, water, and maybe public service. We shall work together and make sure that this has been done. And Honorable, yes, he has also mentioned the issue of suit. Yes, it is true. In Shamata, we are in harvesting season, whereby potato is going at 5,000, and in my small farm, if I had 5 bags of potatoes, that is 25,000. That is enough to clothe me from the shoe, maybe to the kinyozi, and maybe get a good. And I can tell you, my people are happy because during harvesting season, at least we get something. There is the issue of that was mentioned by Honorable Isaac, that is Honorable Kongo. And Honorable Kongo, You've talked about the toll station. The toll stations that are in the national government are meant for protecting the roads for national government. There is nothing that have hindered the county government from having their own toll stations and their own way bridge so that they can protect their roads. The issue of yes, the issue of public members of the public blocking the road. This is a very serious issue and very important point, because if you look at one of the major roads in Nyandarua, that is Mudama Road, I've been working on that road. That is the drainage and all that. And Honorable Congo, I'm sure you are a neighbor, you understand that road is one of the road that links the Roa Nyandarua and the headquarter. And the members of the public have been blocking the waterways, Honorable Speaker. And these have caused a very serious issue whereby we have been working on that road every time, and the road has been in problems. So we need to engage, to come up with a regulation or a registration whereby we have a penalty for anybody who is caught, tampering with the waterways and also the drainage. The issue of Honorable, that is the department, the legal department. We work together with the legal department so that we can come up with a complete report on what has been added by the members. Yes, we shall do that. Also, the Speaker's recommendation, the issue of balloons. Yes, I agree. I've had the issue of balloon with the two members, and at the same time, I had the issue of balloon with one of the members, that is the chair roads, that these balloons are not very expensive. And somebody have mentioned that 300,000 is enough for one unit. Even if you were to buy 2 units per, 2 units per unit, two sets of balloons per unit, the cost is 3 million. So if you are to earn 3 million in the project and we get, our drainage system problem solved, I think that is the way to go, and we must follow up. I think with those, we must say that we are very happy, and we shall work together. And thank you very much, members, for supporting this motion. I would urge the implementation committee to work very fast, so that in the next 60 days we shall have a policy in place, a framework in place, so that by the end of the day, just like it has been mentioned, by the time we are working on the next financial year budget, if we have a framework in place, we shall be able to allocate more money for caravans, some money, around 50 million or thereabout, for youth and gender, and also the issue of logging will have been solved, so that by the end of the day, we shall have protected our roads. Thank you very much. And Speaker, I'm very happy, and I also support this motion, and I expect that we will get your note, so that by the end of the day, your recommendation is also very important. Thank you very much.
I now put the question, which is that this House does resolve that, one, that Department of Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy does formulate a legal framework on axle road control, particularly on county roads, limiting the weight load of the various machineries, such as those used by logging companies, especially during the rainy seasons. Two, that the County Executive Committee, under the stewardship of His Excellency the Governor, does engage with the relevant national government agencies to devise modalities for regulations of logging activities during the rainy season. Three, that the County Executive Committee, through the Department of Youth Affairs, does within 60 days formulate a policy on labor-based contracting, especially among the youth, to be utilized in various county projects such as bush clearing, drainage clearing, and cleaning of the urban centers across the county. 4, that the County Executive Committee, through the Department of Lands, Physical Planning and Urban Development, does within 30 days formulate a framework for utilization of the paving block plant at all Kalau for paving of urban centers across the county. 5, that the County Executive Committee member for Transport does liaise with the County Executive Committee member for Finance to allocate funds per ward for culvert installation, drainage and stormwater management, bush clearing, and paving of urban centers. And 6, that the County Executive Committee member for Roads and Transport does provide a legal framework to limit the distance between the road's boundaries and the spaces where trees are planted to ensure that tree canopies do not form on roads that may otherwise reduce the longevity of the roads. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Honorable members, I congratulate you for passing such an important motion and look forward for implementation of the same. Clerk, first, next order.
Mr. Speaker, we are done with the main order paper and on to the supplementary order paper. Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
No communication from the chair.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Under this order, there is a paper by Honorable Zachary Mwangijero, the chairperson, Committee on Finance, Economic Planning and ICT.
Very well, Honorable. Honorable Benson Carrier, on behalf of the chair, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to table a letter from CCM Finance, Economic Planning and ICT, referenced 100% waiver on interest and penalties for the year 2024. And I table.
The waiver is duly tabled. I refer the waiver to the Committee on Delegated County Legislation pursuant to statutory
21 days, Mr. Speaker.
Very well.
Maybe Speaker, point of clarification from your office.
Honorable Wajiro.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to get clarification whether when such a document is tabled in the Assembly, we'll have an opportunity to have a discussion, because when it is waiver, it affects all of us. And sometimes it's very critical to know what has been waived or not. So I don't know whether we'll have an opportunity again in this House to just have that discussion. And also, Speaker, for your information, and we need clarification, I hear this might have been gazetted. So if it has been gazetted, we need to know what is our role in that waiver, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Members, this is tabling of the waiver, and as it is referred to the Committee on the Delegated County Legislation, the committee should bring the report to the House now for discussion. However, if the committee can do it within 7 days, owing to the county importance of this particular waiver, the better. Chairperson.
Mr. Speaker, we try for the best 7 days.
Very well.
Maybe Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Kongo, yes, what is it?
Something that we need to clarify that has been requested by Honorable Wajiro. And maybe I have two concerns. One, I want to know whether this paper has a statutory timeline on which this assembly might have adopted a report, because we are in the verge of going for a recess and it might be overtaken by event by the time we come back here in February. So we also want to know whether there is a statutory timeline by which we should act. And then there is an issue that has been raised by Honorable Wajiru that it has already been gazetted. If you look at the statutory registrations for this assembly, we have no power to change. We have no power to change anything or do an amendment. It is either we accept or reject. That is what is expected of law. We either agree with the CCM finance in total or we reject. We cannot do an amendment. Then we need to ask ourselves, what is the work of this assembly as far as we are concerned at this level?
Clarification,
Honorable members, the Honorable Benson, you wanted to respond? You may proceed. Honorable Gitau, your microphone is on.
Maybe before he responds, I also have some...
Order. Let him respond on the...
So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think it is prudent and important I read the content of the letter to the members. So, the letter is reference NYA FEPICT Rev 1011 into open bracket 24 close bracket. So, dear sir, reference is 100% waiver on interest and penalties 2024. So the letter reads, the above subject matter refers in exercise of the power conferred by Section 159 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and Section 9 of the Nyandarua County Finance Act 2024, the County Executive Member for Finance, Economic Planning and ICT, with approval of County Executive Committee member and in conference with His Excellency the Governor, has given 100% waiver on interest and penalties on land rates. The waiver period commenced on 19th October 2024 to 19th December 2024. So the last statement, I think is what the members want asking. It says the purpose of this letter is to submit a copy of the Kenya Gazette Notice, volume CXXX V1 number 201 attached. So actually the purpose of the letter is just to submit a copy of the Kenya Gazette Notice.
Honorable members, I think with that response, then we may not have much to do with that. Honorable Ruben Gitau.
Honorable Speaker, I think what the department is doing is just sending a copy of a Gazette Notice so that we can read, we see the date, and maybe if we want a photo with the Gazette Notice, we can take a photo. But there is nothing that we can do about it. Like Honorable Chair have said, it is very unfair for the department to treat this assembly as a rubber stamp, because that is what they are doing. Because I expected they would have come to the assembly to seek for approval. Once we approve, then we agree and move on. So, Honorable Majority Leader, I think we have a serious problem here. Unless we have agreed as an assembly that we shall be rubber stamping, that's okay. But if we are supposed to do something, let it come to us. We agree as an assembly that this is what is supposed to be done. So by the end of the day, we agree whether there will be a waiver or not.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order, Honorable Majority. You wait for the chair to give you the time. You may proceed now.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think this is not the first time that the county government, the executive arm of the government have fruited the issue of waiver, and mostly on land rates. The practice has been that they have been, I think they have been submitting just the Gazette notice for purposes of informing the assembly that such event is happening. I don't know, because I wasn't here on the first and the second assembly, but I think that ought to be the practice which has been happening in the county government of Nyandarua. Or otherwise, we may get it from Gitau or Kungu, how they have been going on with the process of waiver. I'm not very sure, but it is quite important that it is quite okay that we be given a chance maybe to peruse on the same. But I think that has been the precedence which has been set in this assembly for the last 10 years. I don't know, unless now we want to have it done differently. Thank you.
Honorable Kungu.
Honorable Speaker, through your discussion, need to assist us, because I think there is a role that should be played by the delegated committee before a waiver is given, because they need to cross-check whether the CCM Finance has done it within the regulations provided. So, before the waiver is gazetted, maybe after she has requested the cabinet or the executive committee to pass it, before gazettement, there is supposed to be a notification to the assembly and to the committee on delegated, which should now look at it, whether it is within the law. Otherwise, the CCM can wake up one day and give waiver on everything. So what would you do? Or if you have a law or something happens. So I think there is a role that the assembly should play to make sure that whether that thing is done within the laid down regulations of giving waivers. So when he gives us a gazetted, already something that is gazetted, what do we have to do it? We also have our own ways. Gazette notice is accessible to anybody in the public, including ourselves. You can be able to access it even without bringing it here. So I think it is not in order, and the majority leaders would advise accordingly, so that we can be in tandem. We should notify us before, and when we give our approval or we say it is within the law, then it can go on and gazette.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Ibrahim.
Honorable Speaker, when you hear members, they are concerned on this waiver, we as delegated committee, on the last waiver, we advised the executive to follow up the late procedure. But on this, I would like the honorable members to give the delegated committee time to check on this, because we won't allow any gaps which they were supposed to follow. So if it's committed to the delegated committee, I know we are coming up with a report when we sit.
Point of information, Mr. Speaker.
What is it, Honorable Wajiro?
Mr. Speaker, waiver is far much in order. However, the information I want to give the member is that even if we commit this letter to you, already the waiver is in place. Already has been gazetted and it has started working. So there is nothing really you can be able to do it. The document, Mr. Speaker, was just for information, and you should not even commit it to the committee. It was just for information. What will they do after the gazettement? The waiver is already in place. If you start now discussing against the waiver, you seem to be discussing it against the people of Nyandarua. So I think the document was just for information. You let it be, and we continue with the normal way of working.
Order, honorable members. Honorable members, however, and certifying the notice of the waiver may seem, it is an instrument. As we note in the standing orders, standing order 4 and 5, and the instrument is to be committed to the committee, and that the assembly within 20 days on which it next sits after the instrument laid before it under paragraph 2, that all or part of the statutory instrument be annulled, the instrument or part thereof shall henceforth stand annulled. Honorable members, as it has been committed to the Committee on Delegated, the committee on behalf of the Assembly should be able to advise the Assembly and come up with a report, which report the Assembly may adopt or reject. Next order.
Under the same order, there is a paper by Honorable Elijah Mwaginyaga, the leader of the majority party.
Honorable Elijah Mwaginyaga, majority, the leader of the majority party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to table the following letter on establishment of boundaries for the Lake or Borosat National Reserve. And maybe, Honorable Speaker, before I table the said document, let me just maybe have a moment to inform the House on the content of the said letter. This letter is addressed to the clerk through the County Secretary and the Head of Public Service. And this letter is from John Muiru, who happens to be the CCM, Tourism and Cooperative Development, Trade and Industrialization. And the content of the letter is, reference is made to the 5th County Executive Committee meeting 2024 held on Tuesday 9th April 2024, which discussed a cabinet agenda tabled on the consideration of approval for the boundary establishment of Lake or Borosat National Reserve. This is to inform your office that the committee deliberated on 3 proposed boundary scenarios as presented by the Gazettement Committee and resolved to consider and approve with amendments scenario 3, which proposes an area of 9,600 hectares that composed of the lake area, the highest water mark ever recorded for Lake or Borosat, a 60-meter buffer, and a main water source for the lake. This scenario will affect 15,517 acres of RAD, acres of allocated RAD. And Mr. Speaker, I hereby table the said document.
A concern, Mr. Speaker.
What is it, Honorable Wajiro?
Mr. Speaker, you know, of late, I've been very serious on any document that is being tabled in this assembly, and we are looking at the issues critically because I've realized that sometimes we are passing issues that are really affecting us. Last week, I hear there was a motion that was passed of degazetting the municipalities. It was in this assembly, Speaker. That's a discussion of another day, but I'm coming to my point, Speaker. You know, I am drawing my point to this particular issue, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Majority has said that he's tabling a paper on a letter on Lake Oroborosat Natural Reserve. My concern is a natural reserve. A natural reserve is something that has to be gazetted under the Kenya Gazette. So I want to know, you know, wording is very critical. There was a motion that we passed in this assembly talking about gazettement of the Lake Oroborosat as a natural reserve. Has it been gazetted to call it a natural reserve? If not, then the letter should go back and read Lake Oroborosat the way it's supposed to read, not as a natural reserve, because natural reserve is a process, and if it has been gazetted as a natural reserve, we need that information in this assembly. Otherwise, calling it natural reserve is misrepresentation and need to be corrected, Mr. Speaker.
Order, order. Honorable members, this letter is for information purposes. It is duly tabled. The letter is for information purposes, and I direct the office of the clerk to ensure that the same is circulated. Further, I refer the letter to the Committee on Lands, Physical Planning and Urban Development, the Committee on Tourism, Trade Development, Industrialization and Cooperatives, and the Committee on Water, Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources. If the committees find anything of interest in the establishment of boundaries for Lake Oloborosat National Reserve, they should be free to interrogate the matters and inform the House on their findings. On these, honorable members, your concerns, honorable member, is well catered because there is a room for interrogation, and therefore, as it is for now, you are free in the various committees to interrogate those matters, including the inclusion of the National Reserve. Next order.
Further information, Honorable Speaker.
What is it, Honorable Gitao?
Honorable Speaker, when Lake Oloborosat is mentioned and the issue of boundaries is mentioned in the same sentence, Honorable Speaker, boundaries is a very emotive issue, and around 30% of the lake lies in my ward, Honorable Speaker. I would wish to register my concern that anybody who would think that would want to change the boundary of the lake and
order, honorable, honorable Gitao.
Just one,
because your allegations are not substantiated. And order, honorable Gitao, you have the room to interrogate that and report back. Order, honorable Gitao. Order. Order, honorable Gitao. Order, honorable members. The fact that this letter has been committed, referred to the various committees, shows that the honorable members are free in those through those committees to register their concerns and represent them considerably. Next order.
Under the same order, there is a paper by Honorable John Gashino, the Chairperson, Committee on Lands, Fiscal Planning and Urban Development.
Honorable Ibrahim Mangi, on behalf of the Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the Chair, Honorable John Gashino, Chairperson's Committee on Lands, Fiscal Planning and Urban Development. Do table report of the Committee on Lands, Fiscal Planning and Urban Development on Olkalau Municipality reports and financial statements for the year for 30th June 2024, and I do table.
The report is duly tabled. The same shall be processed as directed by the House Business Committee pursuant to Standing Order 157 5D in the approved notice paper. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Under this order, there is a notice of motion by Honorable John Gashino, the Chairperson, Committee on Lands, Fiscal Planning and Urban Development.
Honorable Ibrahim, on behalf of the Chair, proceed.
Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Chair, Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House does adopt the report of the Committee on Lands, Fiscal Planning and Urban Development on Olkalau Municipality reports and financial statements for 30th June 2024 as a report of the House and the recommendation therein as the resolutions of the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The notice is duly given, and the same shall be processed as directed by the House Business Committee, pursuant to Standing Order 157-5D. Next order.
Order number 7. Under statements, there are 2 statements to be sought by Honorable James Keiru Gashomba, the MCA, Jabini Kiburu Ward.
Honorable James Keiru Gashomba. Honorable Ibrahim.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of Honorable James Keiru Gashomba, MCA Jabini Kiburu Ward, 2 statements. The first statement. Mr. Speaker, sir, I hereby seek a statement from the Chairpersons Committee on Tourism, Cooperative Development, Trade and Industrialization, addressing the following concerns. Aware, Honorable Speaker, that the Nyandarua County Government, upon deliberation with the national government, entered into an agreement to establish a county aggregated industrial park, with both levels of government contributing 250 million shillings each towards the project. Further aware that this House approved the county share of 250 million shillings in the financial year 2023-2024 budget estimates, which was meant to match the national government contribution towards the project. Honorable Speaker, appreciating that Article 183 in bracket 3 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides that the County Executive Committee shall provide the County Assembly with full and irregular reports on matters relating to the county. Concerned that the County Assembly has not been furnished with any report on the implementation of the projects despite having appropriated a huge portion of the county budget towards the project. Arising from the foregoing, I seek that the Chairperson Committee on Tourism, Cooperative Development, Trade and Industrialization does provide a comprehensive report on the following. 1. The extent of implementation of program on county aggregation industrial park, containing information on the land on which it is established and the approvals thereof. Whether the national government has honored its part on the project, the components of the industrial park, the expected date of completion, and the agreement with the national government. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The statement is duly sought. I refer the statement to the Committee on Tourism, Cooperative Development, Trade and Industrialization. Chairperson, how many days do you need to respond?
Speaker, bearing the magnitude of that statement and the amount of finances involved and other logistics, we may require 60 days to respond.
Very well. The same shall be noted in the business tracker and provided for as need be. Next order.
Under the same order, there is a statement to be sought by Honorable James Keiru Gashomba.
Honorable Ibrahim, on behalf of Honorable Gashomba, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of Honorable James Keiru Gashomba, MCA Jabini Kiburu Ward, Mr. Speaker, sir, I hereby seek a statement from the Chairperson Committee on Tourism, Cooperative Development, Trade and Industrialization addressing the following concerns. Aware that the county has over the year's allocated funds for trade development referred to as either Biashara Fund or Trade Fund, and the Trade Development and Investment Authority Fund. Further aware that the said allocation are aimed to promote, develop, and facilitate trade to promote stable personal incomes and employment amongst the people in Nyandarua, while ensuring that there is equitable disbursement of the funds across all wards. Honorable Speaker, noting that the County Assembly has in the past appropriated funds to the Nyandarua County Trade Development and Investment Authority Fund for implementation by the Trade Development and Investment Authority. Concerned that of the years, neither the Department of Tourism, Industrialization, Trade Cooperatives, nor Department of Finance, Economic Planning, and ICT have shown any interest in implementation of the foot nor disbursement of the said fund. Further concerned that the County Assembly is not aware of the operations of the Trade Development and Investment Authority, yet the House approval nominees appointed to the authority who continue to draw salaries and benefits from the County Revenue Fund. Honorable Speaker, arising from the foregoing, I do hereby seek a statement from the chairpersons, Committee on Tourism, Cooperative Development, Trade and Industrialization, providing the following. A report detailing the reasons for the non-implementation or disbursement of the allocation to the Trade Fund and the Trade Development and Investment Authority Fund. B, an annual report on the performance and operations of Trade Development and Investment Authority, including financial and non-financial statements required under the Public Finance Management Act 2012. C, the extent of implementation of Trade Development and Investment Authority Act, and D, the measures being taken to ensure that the Trade Development and Investment Authority Fund benefit the people of Nyandarua. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The statement is duly sought. I refer the statement to the Committee on Tourism, Cooperative Development, Trade and Industrialization. Chairperson, how many days do you need to respond?
Mr. Speaker, it's a serious question that needs a lot of research. So I wish to submit that we respond to the statement 3 weeks after we resume after the recess. 3 weeks after the recess. We resume from recess. Thank you.
That is 21 days after the recess.
Yes.
The same shall be noted on the business tracker, in the business tracker. It shall be it shall be noted in the business tracker. Next order.
Order number 8, motions and bills. Mr. Speaker, sir, as the business of this sitting as appearing on the main order paper and the supplementary order paper have been exhausted.
Honorable members, there being no other business to transact under this sitting, I now adjourn the House to Wednesday, the 27th day of November 2024 at 9:30 a.m.